back on Get Up. He said, what? NFL owners meeting still underway in Arizona. Kind of like an adult NFL spring break, and we're adding to the addition of he said what, beginning with Aaron Glenn talking about new Jets quarterback who's back again, Geno Smith.
You always want to bring in competition, and that's going to happen organically. You know what I'm saying? But like I just feel like he's the guy that's going to lead us to the promised land. He's the guy that's going to touch the ball more than anybody else on offense. And listen, I know he had his struggles, and I think a lot of quarterbacks, they have their struggles. If you look at over the last 5 years, the guy that's thrown the most interception. I mean, the top guys are up there. All
right, Nate, your reaction to Glenn.
Yeah, first of all, I appreciate that he still has a little bit of swag as a cornerback with a little Paisley accent. The rest of them coaches got on boring shirts. But also, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think you're the head coach of the football team. You're not going to say, well, we'll see. He's coming off a bad season. Well, hopefully he doesn't tank us this year. Yeah, he's our guy. He's had success in different places, and he's coming back to New York. I think that he's going to lead us to the promised land. I think maybe what I consider the promised land is the Super Bowl. I don't know if Aaron Glenn means that. But I think in context of what he's saying, I don't think it's as big a deal as the internet made it yesterday.
No, because the internet made it and they clipped it at the promised land and didn't add the context to he's the guy that touched the ball every time. He's the guy that's going to come back here. It was
yeah, but also keep in mind the organization, right? I think with Aaron Glenn, to Nick's point, you are going to want to show the world that you're confident in the quarterback that you have, especially the fact that it's Geno Smith and he had a bad season last year. But you're also trying to give yourself some cover, too. Yes, the Jets, we all know they need a franchise quarterback. They need that face of the franchise going forward. Is it going to be Geno Smith? Is he a bridge to somebody? Will they get the young quarterback this year? Will they be able to? Will they want a guy this year? Or will they look to next year and get a quarterback? So you got to leave, as Mike Tannenbaum. Listen, I listened to Mike Tannenbaum for years. Lie straight to our face, It is what it is.
They do.
It is
well,
what
that's
it
only
is.
because it's April Fool's Day.
I've said it all week at these owners' meetings in Arizona. It's lying season. They are all lying to you. You are lying to them, and everyone's just telling a fib until we get to the draft.
I like to think there's a little bit more nuance to the word lie.
Creative licensing with the facts, data, and facts.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But in all seriousness, I think what Aaron did a great job of was manage expectations that they may or may not, to Kmart's point, draft a quarterback. So if they love Ty Simpson and he's there at 16, they take him. There's going to be, whatever they do in that fan base, someone's going to be aggrieved and disgruntled. So because of that, you want to get ahead of it. I think he did a great job of that. And I think for success, this whole notion of the promised land, look, we all know it. If they play better, whatever the number is, 6, 7, 8, 9 wins, you just want to see meaningful progress in year 2. There's a lot of good foundational pieces. I think they've had a productive offseason. And let's give them credit. They have 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years. They've earned the benefit to see this plan through.
We also have to point out the fact that Aaron Glenn, when he speaks of the promised land, it didn't go well for him last year. So you guys talk about bridge quarterback to whatever. Aaron Glenn needs to demonstrate to that organization, I think, that he's the long-term answer there. So I think he really does believe in Geno Smith because it is Lion season, and y'all be spinning, Mike T, but I don't think Aaron Glenn is spinning. I think Aaron Glenn really needs to have success this season and believes that Geno Smith can do that.
And who knows, maybe promised land for the Jets is bottom half of the draft. Colleen, I'm sorry, what? Jerry Jones spoke about the NFL's expanding schedule. Take a listen.
When the ducks quack, feed them. And we have that demand for our games. And because of the hard work and great players that we have great demand. We should address it, respond to it, and feed it.
I love Calvin Watkins in the front trying to keep it together listening to that.
We're responding to it. When the ducks quack, you feed them.
That was the first thing I thought of this morning as well.
When the ducks are quacking this morning, Mike T's going to go out to the nearest pond and feed them. Nick, they're going to feed the NFL owners, pushing for the 18-game schedule. The ducks are quacking. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, his logic is kind of unassailable when it comes to demand. Like the demand is there. The numbers that you get for an NFL game suggest that they can still put more up there. You can combine 5 regular season NBA games and still not get close to what an NFL game does on Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays. But that doesn't take into account the player health and safety. And I think part of the reason why the games are so popular, aside from just how good the sport is that there's few of them. And I think the more we add, it's inevitable that it'll devalue them. And one of the last things I wanted to say about this is at the end of the season, even with the 17-game season and the 18-week schedule, we've had more of these irrelevant games. We get in situations where teams aren't trying to win, and it doesn't matter if they win. The more games you add, like the more distance that you can create between teams, and the more likely it is that you're going to have these irrelevant games. I think what we have right now for NFL is pretty darn good. I mean, I'm not a businessman, so far be it for me to tell them how to make money, but I do know that I love the amount of football we have now. Don't need any more. 16 was fine with me, honestly.
See, and Dominique said the key phrase, I'm not a businessman. That's what it's about business. It's about the bottom line, right? And so, the question of should the NFL expand to 18 games, it feels inevitable. That's at least when I have conversations like players aren't happy about it. The same way players aren't happy about Thursday night games, and we've seen international games explode. We've seen this season we add another game. It's just one of those. These owners want to make more money and expand the game.
And
that's reality.
What's interesting from a roster construction standpoint, right now there's 53 players on roster, 48 can dress in the game. Are you going to expand the rosters in terms of IR, practice squad? Will it be easier to make shifts in your roster? Because, talking to some teams, like you think about skilled players, soft tissue injuries, there's other factors that are going to go involved. So I think it's certainly inevitable, but I think there's other rules that are going to have to support this.
No one yell at me here. I'm merely playing some devil's advocate for a minute. Is it possible that there is a future where there is too much NFL? On a Sunday, on a Monday, on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, on a Friday, on a Saturday.
Nope.
Meek, what makes this great and football in general great is you have this long off season, and then you wait, and then you have Sundays, and you have Mondays, and you keep us waiting all week. We're going to be done waiting for football in a matter of months.
I totally disagree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, first of all, it's not inevitable. Like, I think the players could stand in the way of making this happen, so it's not completely inevitable. They could band together and say that we don't want to expose ourselves to any more subconcussive episodes, or the quarterbacks be exposed to more injuries. Like, all of that stuff could be enough to stop the players. And I also think that I understand the owner's main motivation, or at least their top motivation, is to make more money. But I think that the commissioner's, responsibility is to, put the game in the best place possible. Like, there's a real argument for not adding more games. Like, that could hurt the game. If we look around at these other sports that were more popular or as popular as the NFL, part of the issue with them, with football, or excuse me, with basketball and baseball, is that there are too many games. I don't know what that number is. It's clear that I think the average was 17 million viewers of each game last year. So we aren't there yet, but I think you could get there, and the tide could change on the NFL if they're not careful.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything known as too much football for a few reasons. It's the greatest game played by the best athletes on the planet, and the second most popular sport in our country is college football. So
stay there. When's college played? Thursday and Saturday, and Fridays throughout the season. But it's the most popular game because of the structure we've grown up on, which is you have to wait for it. If it's just readily at your disposal,
right? But there's no data that suggests
that water it down.
Right, Matt. But there's no data to suggest that there's too much of the product. If there was, then we would say that basketball is the second most popular sport, or baseball. It's pro football, college football, and then draw a line.
Shortest regular season. Basketball's got a lot of games. You can pick and choose when you want to dip into that schedule.
Yeah. Listen, Dominique said I thought 16 games was just fine. Do we only have 16 games now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I also think that like I mentioned, the 18th week, half those games are irrelevant and not interesting. And I also think that you would put on top of that it takes a lot. It's going to take a lot of attention or a lot of opportunity from the players, because if you add another game on the season, it gets them close. It keeps them further away from free agency. So I think it's another thing that's to be taken to the calculation is how it impacts their bodies and also how it impacts their bank accounts, which I'm sure the players union will have all that covered.
Yeah. By the way.